Okay, good morning, Miss Valin. So today I will do a presentation about COVID-19 presentation proposal. So the purpose of this project is we all know that we are facing a hard situation nowadays, which is COVID-19. This is a bad problem which affects all the people in the world. Besides that, it also affects to the economic and social problem. All people feel very worried and panic on looking this problem. We don't know when the medicine will be found until when this pandemic will exist. From this pandemic, I am willing to make a proposal about a project to tackle social and economic problems caused by COVID-19 pandemic. This proposal includes the introduction, data, main objectives, my idea, elaboration of my idea, and at last the resources. So these are the presentation main points. The first one is the introduction, the second one is the data, the third one is the main objective, the fourth is my idea, the fifth one is the elaboration of my idea, and the sixth one is the resources. So we are going to the introduction. What is COVID-19 and why does it cause such problem? What would happen if this problem isn't tackled? So we are going to talk about what is COVID-19 first. COVID-19 or coronavirus disease is an infectious disease caused by a newly discovered coronavirus which causes illness in the respiratory system in humans. It is the new virus that is impacting the whole world badly as it's spreading primarily through contact with the person. Most of them will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring special treatment. This virus can spread from an infected person through our nose, eyes, and mouth. People with older age tend to have more chance to get infected by this virus easier than youngs. So the symptoms are fever, dry cough, and tiredness. Fever is when a human body's temperature goes above the normal range of 36 to 37 centigrade or 98 to 100 Fahrenheit. It is a common medical sign. Dry cough is one where no mucus or phlegm is produced with the cough. This is one of the worst symptoms. Tiredness is a feeling you expect after certain activities or at the end of the day. Usually, you know why you are tired and a good night's sleep solve the problem. So besides that, there are other symptoms of corona. Those are the most common symptoms of COVID-19. Besides those, some patients may have ache and pains, nasal congestion, runny nose, sore throat, or diarrhea. These symptoms are usually mild and begin gradually when some people become infected, but don't develop any symptoms and don't feel unwell. Most people, about 80%, recover from the disease without needing special treatment. Around out of every 6 people who gets COVID-19 becomes seriously ill and develops with difficulty breathing. Older people are usually easier to be infected by this virus. So how is COVID-19 spreading? People can get infected by COVID-19 from other people who got that virus. This sickness can transfer from one people to another through small droplets from nose or mouth, which are spread when a person coughs or exhales. These droplets fall on an object and surface around the person. Other people will get infected by touching the object and the surface, then touch their eye, nose, or mouth. People can also catch this virus if they breathe in droplets from a person with this virus who coughs or exhales droplets. From this information, we know that it is important to stay 1 meter away from another person. So these are the infographics of the COVID-19. Novel coronavirus. Coronavirus are viruses that circulate among animals, but some of them are also known to affect humans. The 2019 novel coronavirus was identified in China at the end of 2019 and is a new strain that has not previously been seen in humans. So the preventions are maintain social distancing, wash your hands frequently, and practice respiratory hygiene. So if maintaining social distancing, you can do it when some people cough or sneeze. They spray small liquid droplets from their nose or mouth, which may contain virus. If you are too close, you can breathe in the droplets, including the COVID-19 virus if the person coughing has the disease. Wash your hands frequently. Washing hands using soap or water, or using alcohol hand rub, which could kill virus that may be in your hands. Practice respiratory hygiene. Droplets spread by virus. By following good respiratory hygiene, you protect the people around you from viruses such as cold, flu, or COVID-19. So why does it cause such problem? Researchers found out that the source of this virus is convinced from one market in Wuhan, which sold both dead and living animals including fish and birds. Those areas have a high risk as the virus could easily transfer from animals to human. The cleanliness, standardization of the place keeping live animals like fish and birds can be guaranteed because they are nearby each other, which it could easily transfer from one species to another species. Specifically, the animal source had not been identified, but most was likely bats. Although bats aren't sold there, but other animals sold there tend to be infected by this virus. So from the slide before, we can conclude that why does it cause such problem and why this problem could exist was because of too low clean standard, or in other words, it's dirty. Cleanliness is very important for all of us and we need to be responsible of that. So if this problem is not tackled, this virus has a great impact on the economy of the country. If we don't tackle this problem, it will slow down the economy, which could cause a lot of damage in the growth of the country. Besides that, the country will enter recession through this pandemic. This recession could make the market decrease and result in a loss in the income of the country. From the loss of income, economy will getting worse because the supply chain was decreasing. So from the social problem, socializing is important, but now isolation must occur if this problem isn't tackled. Every countries do isolation, which decreases the population capability, also the interaction between others. Not only that, most of the COVID-19 suspect was authorized and bullied by the community. There is also a lot of presumption which create a mass panic everywhere. So if we let this problem not tackled, it will raise the social issues of the community. We are going to the statistical data, which is explaining about the worldwide cases, recovered, and deaths. So these are the number of cumulative cases of COVID-19 worldwide from 8 January to April 13, 2020. And this is the world stats of COVID-19 per 13 April. So there are 1,846,680 number of confirmed people positive on COVID-19. There are 421,722 number of recovered people from COVID-19. There are also 114,101 number of deaths people caused of COVID-19. So the next one is the new cases at Indonesia per 13 April. Here are the graph. The graph shows it is increasing per day from March 19 to April 13. So we are going to the main objective. There are two questions. Why does this specific problem need to be tackled? And who are the major beneficiaries? Why it is important to tackle COVID-19? Coronavirus has disrupted every daily life throughout the world through travel bans. flight restrictions and the cancellation of sporting and cultural events. WHO has made an emergency meeting to discuss whether the spread of the coronavirus is same like SARS. When they confirmed that COVID-19 is contagious, they issued the year's first travel advisory. Otherwise, taking care of animals, the most likely source to transfer the virus from one person to another between close contacts. New viruses are formed when they mutate to jump species and cause infections in humans. So the conclusion is that there will be a lot of effects into the world and also daily routines of us. With the world which is recovering the fallout of health, social and economic failure to contain this virus, if there is not concerted action, this virus will destroy lives and economies in the coming years. There are many ways in which the government carried out its people when the corona outbreak struck. We must act quickly with several policies that directly target to the community. So the affected community will receive some facilities from the government as assistance amid the corona outbreak in their area. There are lots of ideas regarding the ways to tackle this coronavirus. One of them is to give them free internet access during this outbreak. Besides that, the government could put out a discount on the payment of electricity. At last, the government should help the low incomes by giving them cash. So the major beneficiaries. Before entering the discussion about the major beneficiaries, I would like to show out some data in a kind of diagram. These data were taken from the US states which have been collected and analyzed. The diagram shows a table consisting the number of deaths rate and also the sex ratio. From the data we would look from the table. We can compare the range of age which shows the number of deaths per range. After we compare it, we could find out the bulk of major beneficiaries and which range has the most impact. So these are the table which shows the death rate, which is also divided by age in the form of range. So in the age of 80 plus years old, the death rate shows a 14.8%. From a range of 70 to 79 years old, the death rate from all cases shows 8%. From 60 to 69 years old, the death rate shows 3.6%. From 50 to 59 years old, the death rate shows 1.3%. From 40 to 49 years old, the death rate shows 0.4%. From 30 to 39 years old, the death rate shows 0.2%. From 20 to 29 years old, the death rate shows 0.2%, and from 10 to 19 years old, the death rate shows 0.2%. And at last, from 0 to 9 years old, there are no fatalities. So the table in the slide before shows the data of the death rates per range of age. The data above only acts as a supporting statement of my idea. Major beneficiaries will explain who will benefit the most from this idea. Of course, it will also be selected which groups plays the role of minor beneficiaries, where those groups or organizations benefit the least. However, the statement of the idea will prioritize the major beneficiaries and explain why the group or organization can act as major beneficiaries in accordance with my idea. So the major beneficiaries. To find out which group or organizations play the role of major beneficiaries, we must review the ideas that are listed. According to the written idea, it is not the only one group or organization that play this role, and there are several groups and organizations that play a role in that role. In accordance with the ideas written, people with low incomes get big profits. In addition, students who feel uncomfortable at school will enter this role. Not only them, Electricity and internet companies certainly also benefit greatly from the government. At last, office workers also enter this role. So we are going to the explanation. The low-income families usually must work hard to have a good living with internet and electricity. But this moment they are lucky to have free services. The second one is children who don't feel comfortable studying at school would feel comfortable studying at home with free internet access and discounted electricity fee. The third one, the company of the internet and electricity would gain a lot of money from the government as the government need their goods and services. And the last one is office workers who work from home could feel more comfortable. They still earn wages even they are working from home. So the minor beneficiaries are government as one of the biggest role on facing this pandemic because it would have many deficits, especially in the economy of the country. This is why organization includes in the minor beneficiaries group. Besides that, the medical staff who keeps working during this pandemic with a mission to help this pandemic ends faster are one of the major one of the minor beneficiaries group. Other professions works from home while they are still working as normal. So these are my idea. Why it is the best idea for this problem, and why it is innovative? Why those are the best ideas? The first one is free internet access, the second one is discounted electricity payment, and the third one is supporting the medical staff. So the first one, this is one of the most important ideas for this problem. The second one is, besides the first one, this is also useful ideas to tackle this problem. And at last, this is needed to end this and finish this pandemic. So the free internet access, we are going to the discussion. Coronavirus outbreak may make some countries have to ask people to stay at home to prevent its spread. One of the ways to make the residents comfortable to stay at home is to provide free internet access during the coronavirus pandemic. With free internet access, the government has helped ease the burden on citizens in the midst of a health emergency. During the coronavirus pandemic, residents were asked to remain at home to cut the coronavirus spread chain. All schools were closed, workers were asked to work at home, and students are asked to continue learning at home virtually just as workers who work at home which need a lot of internet access. Besides that, we can play games during boring moments at home. The second one, we are going to discuss about the discounted electricity payment. The reduction in electricity tariff is very much needed for the lower middle class community. The lower classes of society really need to be given incentives or relief in paying electricity. With the current conditions, it is even certain that the economy has experienced a significant decrease. The economic growth was predicted to be minus, and with this policy, we hope it can relieve the burden of the community who got the impact of COVID-19. The purpose of this program is to protect communities who was most affected by this pandemic. Not only these reasons, this program will also make people feel comfortable staying at home using the electricity so they won't went out from home and will stay at home. So the last one is supporting the medical staff. If you're finding it hard to stay at home right now, imagine how it would feel to be a doctor or nurse. Healthcare workers don't have the luxury of holding up in their homes to shield themselves from the coronavirus. They have to expose themselves to the risks, and some are separating themselves from their families for weeks to avoid transmitting the virus to them. At this situation, it is not the time to hate and ostracize them. We must encourage them so they intend to carry out their duties properly. Because without them, this pandemic will not end. Many ways can be done. One of them is by welcoming them when they are going home from work. Government support them by giving personal protective equipment, and besides that, government also prepare facilities for them to rest after doing their duties in law. So why it is innovative? Why it is an innovative idea? First, these ideas are innovative if they are well thought. These ideas has great benefits for resolving this problem because it doesn't need a lot of time. The result will be maximal if the community follows it well. We just need to support the medical staff, which doesn't need much time. With some of these ideas, there will definitely be a difference from before. In addition, this program also gives you comfort if you follow it well. With the provision of electricity and free internet access, it is expected to make us comfortable staying at home. We as a society are also not harmed by any of these ideas. We just need to support them because they are the only person who can help tackling this problem. So we are going to the elaboration of my idea. The first one is how can we apply it in real life. The second one is what is the chance my proposed idea will work. And the third one is the pros and cons of my idea. So these are the process of the infographic. So the first one is the ideation, and the second one is research, the third one is to validate, the fourth one is to map out, the fifth one is to develop, the sixth one is to evaluate, and the seventh one is to optimize the idea. So applying it in real life. To apply it, there are some steps needed to be followed. First is the ideation step, which you come up with your big idea. This is generating stage where you are either bouncing between a number of ideas. The second step is doing a research. It is needed to collect, consume, and gather supporting data and examples to support the idea. Before investing the time, money, and energy into the next idea, it is critical to understand it better by doing research. Third is to validate the idea with intent audience. This is an important step in the project development cycle. And the next one is to map out your plan of action and reverse engineer your success. By feeling confident with this idea, it is worth putting it into full production. And the fifth step, the idea will be developed and published. It is the time to create and launch your new idea. This isn't done yet. The idea needs to be evaluated, to reflect and review, to learn key insights for next time. And at last, optimize the idea for growth and ease. So these are the chances of the idea that will work. The idea is not an idea commonly thrown out by people to overcome this pandemic. To solve this, strong thinking is needed. Besides that, this idea also doesn't harm many people. Opportunities for this idea to run look very big if you get great support from the government. Therefore, the government must intervene in dealing with this pandemic because the government has a high obligation to resolve this problem. The chance of this idea will work depends on the support from the government. Government is the only organization which could handle the fee of the free internet access and discounted electricity fee to the community. With the government support, the spreading chain would break faster and this pandemic will end faster. Literally, the economic and social problem will be better as the pandemic ends faster. We're going to the next one, which is the pros point. The first one, it doesn't require a lot of time. Second one is it didn't harm the community, and the third one, it can be exemplified by other countries. So the pros of the ideas. These ideas has a great advantage to resist the spread of this coronavirus. Because speeding is needed in handling this problem, these ideas are very suitable to be used. First, this idea doesn't require a lot of time and it's efficient. It needs little time but have a big impact in breaking the chain of the spread of this virus. Second, the idea program didn't harm the community at all, but instead the idea are benefiting them. For the provision of free internet access and electricity, it is very possible for people to stay at home and reduce the number of new cases. Finally, this idea can be exemplified by other countries affected by COVID-19. Why? Because this idea is very easy to follow with the will of the government. So here are the cons points. The first, it requires a lot of money. Second one, unemployment will become lazier. And the third one, it cannot work without the government role. So every idea will not always be perfect. If there is a pros, there must be also cons. These cons must be faced by the government and the community in the fight against this pandemic. First, this idea program requires a lot of money. Freeing the internet and electricity for the community is certainly not a cheap thing, especially when the country's economy is in this line. Secondly, unemployment will become more lazy to work. Why? They feel their living are getting better without working. Of course, they will become lazier. And at last but not least, if there is no government role, this idea cannot work. The reason is because this idea cannot be carried out privately. Only the government can handle this idea with the support from the community. So these are my presentation about COVID-19 proposal. Hope you can enjoy it and you can take many benefits from my presentation. Thank you for listening.